You're listening to WRBB 104.9 FM Boston, and this is the Dark Forest. This is The Dark Forest, with your host, the Dungeon Master, and
the Crypt Keeper.
And today we have our special guest,
the Wanted One.
The Wanted One. That's right. So I hear that you're wanted, by the Great Tower. Yeah, I think.
First of all, pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dungeon Master, for welcoming me to your dark abode. And no, it's not actually the Great Tower that wants me. You're mistaken. It's the Council.
The Council
interests me.
That's right. I mean, I'm sure the Great Tower wants you as well, right? As well
Yeah,
as the
well,
council.
who cares about
Primarily
the
the council. They're the ones with the bounty. They're looking to pay out.
I wouldn't be too worried about
That's
anything
right.
the Great Tower wants.
Yeah.
Talk about a fall from grace, really.
I know,
course.
really. You build a tower to the heavens. You ever hear about the Tower of Babel?
Yeah.
The Tower
Right.
of Babel,
It's
of
like
course.
It's not. They wouldn't be the first great
No,
tower
I totally agree. The second time around, it's just not the same.
to fall from grace. Yeah, I mean, oh my God. Speaking of towers, right?
Yeah.
I've been looking to buy a creaky, tall little tower, surveying,
yeah.
The lands. You're a wizard, right?
Yeah, of course.
The wanted one.
I believe we all are here.
Spellcaster. A couple wizards among us here. It's just so hard to find like a decent tower that like has all like the amenities I want. Like I looked at this one tower, and it was a great tower. Not the great tower. It was.
Perish the thought.
But it was a good tower, right?
Crooked.
Quite
reaching the
crooked,
sky.
yet somehow still standing. Had this excellent, just grand hall at the top. With a excellent large sort of throne to sit in and sort of wait ominously for like adventurers to come by.
In one of the darker quarters of the forest, I hope.
Yeah. But on a hill, which was great. You love a
hill.
hilltop tower.
Of course.
Or surveying the terrain. I saw this. Oh my God. I got this whole tour of a hill in a valley. No good.
No?
No good. You don't want a hill in the valley. You can't see anything from there.
Perish, like a hill in a swamp. Like,
Right.
forget that. That would be even worse.
Now, I have to be totally honest with both of you right now. I've never seen a great appeal to a hilltop tower. I've always preferred my towers isolated, remote, in places where, nobody can see me. If I can see people, that means they can see me. I don't want that. I want to be casting my magic in private.
Really?
I am the wanted one.
That's true.
That makes sense. Where are you
But
thinking?
don't-
Like a mountain of some sort?
Well, a mountain's high up and can be seen from a great distance. I prefer something maybe hidden away. A valley's not bad, but I've actually recently purchased a property, a tower sunken into the ground.
Wow.
Once a part of a floating city,
yeah.
this tower has since collapsed and sunk into a sheet of ice.
Oh, really?
Yep.
It's a nice setup you
yeah.
have there.
Yeah, I'm lucky. The furniture was all bolted down, so a quick casting of some, trivial anti-gravity spells, and I can just walk on the ceiling.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, the council, they're not going to find you there.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to find you.
They're not going to find me anywhere, but being careful doesn't help.
Yeah.
That doesn't hurt.
For sure.
For sure.
But I do worry that with such an underground tower, you're not going to have a nice sort of open balcony from which to sort of cast lightning from your
Yep, into the
fingers
heavens,
into the heavens and sort of intimidate people. And the thing is, you can't have a hilltop tower that is in a remote location. It's just got a practical benefit of you can see any adventurers trying to sort of storm your castle.
If it's remote enough, the adventurers aren't going to make it there.
true.
And if you've made peace with the creatures of the forest, a remote
Yeah.
location might be just the right place for you. If you're at peace with them, you'll have no worries of, a night walker or, a shadow crawler
That is true.
spotting your abode and coming for you.
The hard part is making peace with those creatures, though. They can be quite terrifying and ominous.
Well, Dungeon Master, perhaps you could provide us like a tip or two on making peace with these creatures. I know you've been in the Dark Forest for quite some time.
Well, generally offerings, if you can offer them one housing, a nice sort of spacious barracks in which to house your army is a good idea. They'll work for you and food, keep them well fed. No creatures will turn on you like hungry creatures. I'll say that much.
Oh, of
right?
course.
So
I'm
you
sure
might
we've
have
all
to
had
make a
run in with a hungry creature.
Yeah.
Oh, haven't we
woke up
all?
on the wrong
So-
side of the shadow realm.
You might have to, exactly. You might have to go to a couple nearby villages, harvest some of the people there, and bring them back.
I mean, personally, a little play I like to do is I, pretend to be an old friendly wizard. I'll go to a town. I'll
Right.
say I'm recruiting some adventurers for a, great journey. Gonna slay the big bad creature
Yeah,
in the
I
forest.
actually like to leave a little task up on the bulletin board of the local tavern.
Yep.
Wow.
And
Usually.
Soliciting advice.
They think they're doing it reluctantly, but they're really all for it. You drag them right into the forest, and the rest is history.
Classic
Right.
approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. What other features of like a good creaky wizard tower?
Well, this was something I got at earlier. Was the impossible geometry is really what sells me
yes.
on it.
Oh, especially
When
if it's ever
up,
changing.
and then out, and then back in. Yes, interior. The interior, you cannot forget about the interior. Now, I like something sparsely decorated. Maybe even like 14 of the floors consecutively, just spiraling stairs. Maybe they move. Maybe they've got old creaky portraits that move. As well. The more moving, mundane objects,
ever shifting.
It adds to the appeal. It adds to the ambiance, the atmosphere of your wizardly dwelling. That's what you want.
And particularly if you can have it sort of labyrinthine, from the entrance, it's got all these twists and turns and splits to take, and then you enter a room and it's like, oh, there's all these sort of, creatures sitting there waiting for you to do battle. That's pretty good.
Sorry, Crypt Keeper?
Yes, Crypt Keeper.
So tell me, you know a thing or two about keeping crypts and I suppose towers too.
Oh, of course.
What are the best kind of creatures to allow into your tower? If you
into your tower.
Yeah, there's obviously the mutually beneficial like giant spider that might catch somebody in their webs if they come in your front door. But do you know of any other creatures, something that might help somebody just add a little flavor and protection to their tower?
Of course. Well, goblins can be quite tricky, quite pernicious. They might steal things from you while you're not looking, take baubles. But I found that they can also be quite helpful if you find the right goblin. You know where to look. They like to patrol caves, swamps, like those kinds of areas. You ask, you willing to help provide some home security for my wizardly dwelling in exchange for some trinkets, some gems? I found that they're quite willing to barter with you for the right price, of course.
It's actually funny you mentioned that. The dungeon master and I have actually both allowed a goblin into our abode. And
really?
Yeah. So this is interesting. We actually do. We have a goblin roommate.
Yeah, we just call him the goblin.
Current place.
If there's only one goblin in the room, they don't mind being called the goblin.
Yes, of course.
It really doesn't bother them.
It's a different story, but there's one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's actually pretty chill.
He has enchanted me multiple times, and
that's true. But
I'm
sure how it goes living with a goblin, right?
It takes me every time he gets me. It takes me a few months to clear it. Actually, originally I wanted to kick him out. Actually, and then the trick with a goblin is skin contact. They have a surprising ability to just really, really get those powerful spells through your wards upon skin contact.
Wow,
so that's the main thing I would tell you. If you are keeping a goblin in your crypt. That's the one thing I'd say. Wear gloves when you shake hands. Masks can't hurt either.
A good crypt keeper is never found without their gloves, of course.
You do not want a goblin to enchant you. Like our goblin, as cool as he is and as much as he can hang, he does request, a lot of, artifacts, trinkets, baubles.
Yeah. I'm paying about double what I pay in rent
all of the above.
Just to provide this goblin with trinkets and magic items.
Wow, really? What's the most expensive magic item he's asked for?
Ooh, oh my gosh, yeah. Probably the Orb of Elsecalling. Yep.
Really?
Wow.
He wanted that just straight up? No barter?
I was enchanted. I didn't even think twice. He said he wanted it.
You gave it to him?
I put it, that big sack he carries right in front of him.
Right.
Yes, of course.
I just dropped it right in. I never saw it again.
Oh my God.
I assume he pawned it off, maybe lost it gambling or something. He's got
Probably.
a problem, but yeah.
Who knows where it is now?
We support him nonetheless.
If anybody on the air has, knows where I can get a new Orb of Elsecalling, maybe you bought the one off my own goblin, but yeah, please call in and let us know.
Please do let us know. We would love to find that orb.
Yeah, we would love to know. The Ultraviolet in chat is saying that goblins have gross hands anyway. I actually don't think that that's a very cool thing to say. Goblins, they actually keep cleaner than you'd expect.
Yeah, well, their fingernails grow naturally long, but
right.
They wash their hands, they bathe just like any of us.
Most goblins I've met
routine.
Do a good job of keeping it clean under there. So,
but no, I could see, I mean, that's not totally unfair. I can see how the long, slender fingers could come across that way.
Hang on, it seems like we're getting a quick call in.
I'm just calling in to say that I actually found the orb.
Oh, the
orb has been found.
The Domancer is calling in, found the orb.
Yeah. It It was in my dresser drawer, actually.
Oh,
Wow.
It was in the dresser
This
drawer.
is the
Did you catch that?
Domancer who lives in the abode alongside the
Yeah,
goblin.
yeah, with
Yes,
the goblin
yes.
and us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, give that back to me then.
Yeah, get that back to
We need that like now, preferably.
Yeah, I gave that
by the
over
way,
when I was enchanted. You have no legal claim to it. I know possession is 9/10 of the
did you do
law, but
dishes after your potion brewing session, just like making sure.
look, these aren't the kind of questions that we want people calling in for.
Yeah.
So
Call,
just hang on.
call back if you need like some advice on something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
sorry
we
about
got
that.
them off the line.
What a guy, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
My goodness.
You take my Orb of Else calling and then ask me about doing the dishes.
I
not
know.
okay.
Right.
Tell
right.
me,
for
tell me,
real.
Dungeon Master, who's in the dish debt in this apartment?
Well, I'll tell you who's in dish debt. The goblin. Look, I love that guy. We love him.
We love him. We
but
love
dude
him. We
needs to
do.
learn to clean up after himself. That's all I'm saying. It's been one tray of slop too many. That's all I'm saying. Like one bowl of gruel too many.
That actually may
Of
have been my
course.
bowl of gruel.
Your bowl of gruel.
I've been.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry. I
All right.
can't help a bowl of gruel. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, a good bowl of gruel does go a long way.
fine.
Strengthens your immune system.
When you're out of slop, there's no other option.
Yeah.
That's true.
If it's what it takes,
Yeah.
I won't turn up my nose to a plate of gruel,
I
a bowl
actually
of gruel.
found a great green slop recipe recently.
Did you?
Yeah, it incorporates a red slop as the base, which is the
slop.
real secret to a stable green slop.
Of course.
Anyway, so you're wanted
Yeah, I mean,
by the council.
who isn't, right, these days?
Right. Well, so speaking
you
of
have
that-
some misdemeanors out, but
Oh, my
I do
goodness.
have felony crimes against magic.
Yeah.
Violations of the Camelot Convention, I guess.
Yeah.
Soul magic, chaos magic, blood binding, the usual
Yeah.
suspects, right?
Right.
As one does.
The usual stuff. The council will dish out charges for anyone just trying to deal with a little bit of soul magic, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of mischief, a little bit of merrymaking with blood magic, as one does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually recently had an influence interaction with the council. So they were mad, right? Get this, that I tried to perform
As
a dark.
usual.
Tried to perform a dark ritual to summon the ancient blood demon Acheron.
Acheron.
Yeah, Acheron, right?
Yep.
So like, the problem was
Careful with that guy.
right. So
I hope you had the.
I tried to summon him, and then, oh my god, tell me, the Wizard Council not happy about that. So I had to show up. I had to put on the, my formal stars and moons,
The whole gear, the whole getup.
But you won't believe it. I had a tear in my robe, and I'm like, I'm gonna look unprofessional showing up in this.
Well, frankly, with the council, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if that was, the great blood demon Acheron or, a minor one like Kozoloth, right?
Right.
For them, it's just about power. It's just about control. It's about taking away your freedom.
They'll get
and
you for
can't let
any
'em.
demon, any blood demon.
To them,
you
it
know?
doesn't matter. They're
Regardless of order.
sticklers.
They get you for an imp,
For
They
real.
don't care.
It's wild.
It's about controlling you. They're not actually. They'll claim that they're worried about the catastrophic effects that this blood demon may have on the citizenry or the surrounding area. No,
Right.
no, it's about controlling the wizards of Boston.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
and it's horrible. But it is what it is. I had to show up. I just show up for the hearing. I could not show up to the hearing.
Like it's like
There'd
ever
be
heard of
worse
the
in
first? Ever heard of the first Wizard Amendment?
right. Haven't you ever heard of the first?
The right to summon blood demons.
The council just doesn't care about such
what-
matters.
Our
You'd think
forefathers
they would.
fought for this.
What don't they get about shall not be infringed? That's all I have to say.
They
I'm
fought for
sorry.
this.
I'm sorry. I know we don't want to get political on this show, so
No. There's a time and a place, and I think this might be the time.
it's just somebody had to say it.
I would
Yes,
like to.
of course.
I would like to note
Protect the
that,
first Wizard Amendment.
The tourist has asked in chat, Boston exists in the Dark Forest? Boston doesn't exist in the Dark Forest. Boston just exists.
Yes.
And
Boston is a place.
And so does the Dark Forest.
And we live there. And the Dark Forest does exist also, and it's another place. So please don't ask stupid questions.
I don't know what you were thinking asking that. It was really quite rude of you, quite
Yep.
unprofessional. You should know better at this point as a frequent listener of our discussions here.
So I'm trying to go to my hearing, right?
Yeah.
I got rips in my stars and moons. I got to take it to the wizard tailor.
Yep.
to patch that up.
For the viewers who don't know, the Stars and Moon is the formal wizard garb. If you
Think like what Merlin would wear.
Yep.
Formal wear for wizards. You got to wear it to any council hearing.
your graduations from magic school,
Yep.
Of course.
hearings, weddings, wizard
Right.
weddings.
No good wizard is found
So,
at that
so, I,
one.
so I stopped by the tailor. I got it patched up while I was there. Got my hat ironed out so it's nice and straight, standing tall.
Oh, wonderful.
And I don't like the council, but you got to dress to impress, right? Council doesn't like dark magic, so I gotta show that I respect.
Because at the end of the day, you're not doing it for the council, you're doing it for the judge. Totally get it.
Exactly.
You know how to play the game. You know how to play it well.
But so I actually did succeed in summoning summoning Acheron, the ancient blood demon.
What did you call upon him to do for you?
And I was just trying to make a deal with them, but it did end up casting the ancient wizard city of Wind Harbor into about 5 days of darkness, where variety of hellspawn wreaked havoc.
minor setback.
If you're living in a wizard city, you should be insured against these kind of issues. Wizard insurance.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. You should also be capable of surviving in a 5 days of darkness. I know wizards who have seen the other side of 1,000 years of darkness. Right. So
5 days.
So I really don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got a class action coming against you. Frankly, if I were the judge on the case, I would simply dismiss it.
The odds
also,
are in your favor.
Can I just say, what a literal city name? I mean, Wind Harbor. What? You've got a lot of wind in a harbor. Like, so does Chicago, right? Like the windy city.
Yeah.
But they didn't call it Wind Harbor. They just called it Chicago. So, I don't know. Look, wizards, they're not the most creative namers of things, right?
I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I would like to say in chat, the tourist Wordle 651 2 out of 6. Are you trying to cast spells at us? Are you insulted at what we've said to you, and you're trying to cast foul hexes at our location? This will not do. You do that again, and you're being excommunicated forever.
Yeah, you've gotta
watch yourself.
You've got to stop such things.
Yeah.
If you keep going on this path, I swear there will be riots in the
We can
streets.
calm down. Frankly, I'm a little insulted that they thought such a trivial enchantment would work. I know for a fact that I cast warding spells on the whole studio before coming in. Of
course.
I would not be surprised if both of you did as well.
I usually
necessary
do
precaution.
before the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, to any viewers out there, go ahead and cast another spell. Give us your worst. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, I mean that just like that spell that I cast. Not my proudest moment, right? Not my
The summoning of
The summoning of the great
of Acheron.
blood demon?
Acheron, yes.
yeah.
Not my greatest choice, but I mean, he didn't kill everybody. Anyway, like I was saying, good thing it didn't kill everybody.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, if you're a good and proper wizard city and you're killed by a single blood demon, well, maybe, it was about time.
Right. And it didn't kill everybody. So I'm just saying, the council's charges on me on this, a little bit ridiculous. 5 wizard years in wizard prison, wild. Fortunately, I have a good wizard lawyer. They're actually a very good time wizard. So let's just say those 5 wizard years I'm serving, they're not going to be very long.
Yeah, I would presume that they already know, actually, that would come of the trial if you got a good time wizard lawyer.
Yeah.
They should know what's up. The trial is not but a formality, of course.
Yeah. Time magic has never been my, greatest field of expertise. Frankly, I find it confusing. I hired a time secretary one time, and, that resulted in, just last week I had, like, a package arrive before, I even ordered it. And then,
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you know, the next day I have to, like, put in the $50, like, order form,
What was the package?
It was like an underwater, like, breathing apparatus, which evidently was useful.
You know what?
Yeah.
Wait,
because of the flooding.
and wait 2 weeks, because you're going to need that. That's you're going to order. You're going to need it, and you're going to go, oh, I got to order that.
Yeah.
And guess what? You've got it, because it came 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, that's the advantage of a time secretary.
Yeah.
It's confusing, but it has its perks.
Generally, that's one of the perks of Wizard Amazon.
Yeah, I
is
probably
that they have
shouldn't have
time gnomes
admitted that
still.
on air, because this will be brought up if I'm ever, captured by the council and brought to trial.
Don't worry, the council doesn't have to know about this.
They do have a ban on time magic.
Yeah, I do actually. We do have several spells on this broadcast that I would be impressed if a member of the council manages to listen to this show. That's all I'm saying.
Wizard encryption is a powerful tool, believe me.
That it is.
The
That it is.
ultraviolet
End to end.
says a temporary secretary, 5 out of 10 pun. I like the temporal, but it's a little wordy.
Well, do you know the reference? Temporary Secretary is the song that they're referencing. So
7 out of 10.
temporary, pretty close. Pretty
7
spot
out
on.
of 10.
7 out of 10.
That'd be
You got a
pending
few,
peer
you got a
review.
few more points
It's
there.
still a little wordy, I would say.
Ultraviolet. A little bit wordy. Yeah.
A little bit. It's okay.
Yeah. If you revise that and get back to us, let us know.
Of course.
So, man, we've been dealing with that gnome infestation at our place.
Oh, I don't even want to think about gnomes. I've had enough of gnomes for many lifetimes.
Goodness.
Hands in the air, I'll take the blame for this. Yes, I've been bringing gnomes home. I've actually brought 3 gnomes home this week.
Well, they're not
the bee
leaving,
gnome,
right?
the mushroom
They're still
gnome, and
here?
then the 2-dimensional mushroom gnome.
Yeah, well, I could tell they're here, right? Because the other day I tried to, I was going to open the door to the bathroom. Guess what? It was slightly ajar. I open it up. There's a bucket of water on top. Pours right on me.
Classic gnome
Pours right on me
mischief.
when I open the door.
That very same day, I walked straight into,
Yep.
like plastic wrap, straight in the door.
Well, yeah, and
Visible.
you want to talk about plastic wrap? I go to use the toilet. Guess what?
pee bounces right
Saran
there.
wrap. Pee bounces right off.
Yep.
I thought it was
Oh.
actually I thought it was an enchantment at first. I thought they had enchanted my my toilet.
No, nothing's so
saran wrap.
magical. It's just
Saran
pure
wrap.
physical trickery.
Yep.
And
You all are lucky that you've never had to.
Signs of a gnome infestation.
Oh yeah.
Right
you're
there.
gonna notice that your snacks are, disappearing at a rate
Yep.
much faster than usual. I had a bag of trail mix, bought it, 25%. I go and look, and it's 25% remaining. Right.
Yeah.
That's a primary sign.
All your snacks gone. Right.
Yep.
Or you wake up and you've peed yourself.
Yep.
And how that happened? You look to the right. Your hands in a little bowl of warm water.
You go look at the thermostat, and it's January. The AC is on, and it's set to 55 degrees.
Yep.
Right.
Your TV turns on in the middle of the night. It's on auction footage for some reason. The gnomes are trying to do some bidding.
If you find your head being, cartoonishly smushed by an anvil that was precariously, leveraged over
Wizard
your head.
gnomes.
Gnomes.
Wizard gnomes. You wake up. You wake up in the middle of the night. Shaving cream on your face. Gnome put shaving cream on your hand. Tickle
Yep.
your face.
Yep.
Classic.
I'm using a
gnome
feather, I
maneuver.
suppose.
Time. A little feather on your face. Comically large feather, usually, actually.
Yeah.
Or you wake up and all your clocks are they're set an hour off.
Look, it's easy to sit around and complain about gnome infestations, but really, at the end of the day, all you got to do, give them a worthwhile offering,
Right.
Give them a weird little trinket, maybe something
weird
that
little
winds up.
That's
and then, anything with like a little click, click. and then
Wind up.
it'll like walk on
Walks
its own. Gnomes
Exactly.
love that. That will
love it.
entertain the gnome
Now,
for weeks.
What I do is, because you can entertain a gnome, but you want to get the gnome out of your place. So what I do is usually, and I find this to be very effective, I put such a trinket underneath a cardboard box propped up by a stick with a little string, and when the gnomes go to retrieve this trinket, I pull the stick away. Box drops on them, catch and release. I take them outside.
Yeah, Dungeon
That's
Master.
amazing.
I let him keep the trinket.
I would caution against kicking a gnome out of your house because something goes wrong. The gnome gets bonked on the head by the box. The next thing you know, his 35 closest nephews have shown up to your house and they're disassembling it brick by brick and walking in a single file line away with your home. You wake up and you're just a single bed sitting on like a dirt lot.
If you're lucky, they've left you with like a lamp or something, even maybe just a candle.
But I find that under such comical procedures, gnomes do tend to respect the maneuver and be on their merry way.
Yep.
Upon being caught in the box.
Yep. You just have to be confident in your ability to play the game like the gnomes do because it's very easy for some like debutante to like set up the little gnome trickery and oh no, you misconfigured it. And instead of, the, piano, falling from over their head and leaving a big swollen bump, it smushes the gnome, You
can't have that.
You need to have the correct like hijinks parameters set, right?
That's true.
Don't go in blind, know the craft, I would say. And frankly, I think you're underestimating the advantages of gaining a gnome ally,
A gnome ally, sure, but stick to your own garden. This is my home.
Yeah, I mean, but what happens when, it's a dark and stormy night, thunder blaring, you lose power, you were just about to go out and recharge, your magical gems, buy a new set, you're out of potion ingredients, and some creatures of the night come into your home. Who are you going to rely on
like to see them try,
set,
sure.
I've said your magic's run dry, your gems of...
Okay, all right, my warding spells have worn
In
off.
this
you have
hypothetical.
spells, but you're just about to replace your gems. You're just about to recast your wards, and it's a dark and evil night. It happens twice a year, right? Okay? Who are you going to trust, to like litter your house with, cartoonish, goofy traps that will stop the ghosts and creatures of the night in their tracks.
Like a bucket of paint on the top of the stairs, perhaps.
Yeah, or even like, a gnome would,
hot doorknob. Hot doorknob.
Well,
Thumbtacks on the stairs.
Thumbtacks on the
you
stairs.
see, gnomes are going to be silly when they're dealing with a corporeal creature, like anything that bleeds, really. But when it comes to a ghost or a specter or a shade, wraith, banshee, or whatnot,
Any
ghouls,
sort of
gas, phantoms as well, shadows. A gnome is not going to hold back. They are going to destroy that thing. They are going to banish it. They are going to, disintegrate it. Whatever it takes to get that thing out of their home.
Yeah, no, that's true. Gnomes are very, very territorial. Once they've adopted a new garden, they're going to do everything they can to defend that.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like a Gnomus Gardenus would do such a thing.
Right.
Some species of gnomes
They're going to see any invaders as someone trampling their flowers.
Yeah.
As equivalent.
Gnomus Dragonus as well. They're quite territorial and more protective of their possessions.
Certainly.
I actually do have a story related to this.
Do tell.
Yes. So once I was in the forest, I was trying to hunt the mythical blank banshee. I was looking for any evidence, any ectoplasm, any spare goop that this banshee may have left. And I had traced the banshee into a particular dwelling of the forest, this meadow with brilliant flowers. And I had almost cornered the banshee, but I saw in a tree, perched up on a branch, the laughing gnome. And we had stumbled into the laughing gnome's territory. And that gnome laughed louder than I've ever heard anything laugh before in my life, and it scared the banshee right off. Never saw it again. So gnomes can be very effective against wraiths, against other foul specters and spooks of the night, but it did cost me a great discovery that night.
That's actually more impressive than any of you might know, because a banshee is notorious for its deafeningly loud wail. So if that gnome laughed loud enough to scare off a banshee, well, you best believe that laugh was hideous.
It was
hysterical. It was cackling.
That was the most hysterical guffaw, I'm sure, that anyone has heard.
It was quite something, let me tell you.
Believe me, audience, this was no sensible chuckle.
Oh, no.
Certainly
Perish
not.
the thought. Simply perish the thought.
Certainly not. Oh, man. Let me tell you how not to deal with a gnome infestation, just real quick.
Of course.
Okay.
Circle back a little bit, just a little bit.
Like we know how to deal with one, but it's important how to not deal with one.
Let me tell you, because I've seen people try to do this. Shoot it. Do not try and shoot it with your gun, because you know that's going to blow right back towards you. Is what's going to
Yes.
happen. The gnome's going to put a comical plug in the end of your shotgun, and it's going to blow right back at you, and your beak's going to go on the wrong side of your head. So don't do that.
Yep.
Classic slapstick.
And if you don't
chicanery.
have a beak, you're about to grow one.
of course.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do not try to chase them around.
Yep. It's gonna go right
Because-
side, left side, right
Right.
side, left side. Peek its head out of the garbage can. You know.
You're gonna go.
You have
You're gonna go in and out of every door in your house.
Yes,
You're
yes.
gonna be running through the hallway, and you're not gonna get anywhere.
Don't even think about it. You'll
Tell
be
you that,
winded
yes.
long before the gnome gets
yeah.
tired.
You're gonna be winded, and the gnome's gonna show up behind you and crash into
What's
you,
the-
and then turn around and run the other way. It's not gonna work.
Not
Yeah.
fun.
You're gonna heal. Don't be surprised if by some magical incantation, the Benny Hill theme comes on.
Oh, the Benny Hill theme.
It just might.
When that comes on, you know you're not catching the gnome, and the silly thing is they never give up in a timely fashion.
I
They
never
always
understood.
take it way too far.
Yeah.
They chase and they chase when the race is already over.
I never understood how they just manifest that song out of the ether. How do gnomes do that? Has anyone learned their secrets?
Our buddy Duvendir,
Yeah.
a good gnome friend of ours.
Shout out to Duvendir.
Shout out.
Great,
Shout out
great
to
gnome.
Duvendir.
Great
yeah,
gnome.
check out their music.
Check out they're playing a show.
Oh.
A show today technically.
Wow.
shout out.
Online.
Oh, online.
That's
like
awesome.
2
Yeah.
o'clock or something.
Check out Duvendir on Twitter.
Check it
I
out.
think.
Duvendir
Yeah.
on Twitter.
No, but
Anyway.
I've
Great gnome. Great gnome. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
I've
Good
asked Duvendir how
Yeah.
to get it to play.
Yes, yes.
No answer. It's a well-guarded gnome secret.
Oh, yeah.
of course.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Well guarded, like the gardens of the gnomes.
yep.
Yes.
Gnome's garden is.
They tend to their crops very carefully.
Yeah, like etymologically, like we're not exactly sure whether the garden phrase comes from the gnomes are garden, you're either guarding it, or whether it's a garden of like vegetables, right?
Right.
The linguists out there are just not certain.
I see in chat somebody is definitely playing a piano. We hear no such thing. Those might be gnomes in your building playing sort of practical trick on you. You might want to get that checked out. Just
Yep.
take everything you said
Yeah.
on air into practice.
yeah, we
Do
will-
not shoot. Do not chase.
I-
You'll figure it out.
I hear no such piano, so yeah. I mean, unlikely.
might be the gnomes. Sorry.
I would proceed with caution is the one thing I would say. Yeah. Eyes open, if you're tiptoeing in one direction, about to peek around the corner, make sure to look behind you. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Wow. Man, you were talking about AC earlier. Gnomes might turn on your AC, in the dead of winter. Right.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Classic.
I've been noticed last week.
Little gnome goon.
The infestation.
Goon prank.
It was, what, 63
AC?
degrees?
Doesn't quite make sense, does it?
Right. Well, to anybody who's taken 7th grade science class, you know what entropy is, right?
Right.
Oh, of course.
Right. A closed system is going to increase its entropy. It's going to get hotter, right? So the idea of a non-magical machine that makes things colder, is laughable.
Doesn't
right?
make any sense.
Makes
It's-
no sense at all.
It's frankly the biggest, prank that wizards have ever pulled on,
true.
uh,
A lot of people think AC stands for air conditioning. I'll tell you, it stands for Arctic conjuration.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
It's a very common misconception.
It's ice wizards.
For those
is
of
what
you
it is.
who own your home, I'd say if you're renting, don't do this. But if you own your home, go to your air conditioner right now. Crack that thing open. Go right into the center, and sue me if I'm wrong. There is going to be a tiny, shrunken down Arctic wizard in there, Arctic conjurer, and he is hard at work keeping you cool and chilly. He's probably on break right now. He probably has a couch set up there.
Or-
Maybe he's watching television.
Yeah. Or an ice crystal.
Ice crystals
A lot
are a
of them
very
are fueled
cheap
by-
method
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
I mean,
But ice crystals tend to wear out, right?
yeah, and they're frankly more expensive than just outsourcing to some recent graduate wizard.
True.
Looking for an entry level position.
That way you're guaranteed the wizard power. You don't need an ice crystal.
Maybe a wizard
for
that
it.
took a less practical degree in like illusionism or like, scroll keeping. I don't know.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is frankly
Yep.
just out of fashion.
Yep.
Store your spells in a staff, not a scroll. Everybody knows it's way better.
I know. I mean, what organizations are still hiring like scroll maintainers these days?
You know what I've heard? In addition to staffs, I've heard people using magic wands lately. Thoughts on magic wands as a spellcasting
the wand
method?
versus staff argument. I'm actually really interested in this one. What do you think about this?
Look, okay, nobody can deny there is nothing more essential aside from perhaps the hat and cloak to a wizard's getup than their staff.
Yes.
Just a gnarled oak branch,
That's
perhaps
true.
with some gem inlaid
Yeah.
in the
Well, I
end,
agree.
Many
would argue, though.
but no, I know where you're going. The
the
wand,
wand is quite in fashion these days.
it's quite in fashion.
Now, I'm not a wand person myself. I'm staff through and through. Well, primarily, I don't use any sort of focus like that. I primarily cast to my fingertips. But if I have to pick wand or staff, it's staff any day for me.
Yeah. Now, where I was going with this was
Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, the staff is the most stylish, but I do confess I carry a wand on me at all times. Because if I am, beset by a rival wizard, a rival creature, I need to draw that thing quickly. And, that staff can be unwieldy in close quarters.
That's true. What kind of wand are you wielding? Long, short, build, make?
Short wand.
Short wand.
Yep.
Something portable, quick.
Yep.
pull out.
Weave from the shadow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Of
nice,
course.
nice.
Yep.
Where'd you get that?
Yeah, so I it was a little bit of a complicated. There was an easier way I could have done it, but I now know. But
Yeah.
5-6 years ago, I dream walked into the dark forest.
Wow. Quite the feat.
Yep.
I remember. I recall.
Yep. Psychic shadow latched onto my mind, took it back with me. I spent better part of 2 weeks tracking this thing through the streets of Boston. We went by Fenway, downtown, all the way up to Cambridge is where I caught it, right on the Harvard campus. Found this thing, unmade it, and weaved its shadow into a, little twig I found on the sidewalk.
Well, that's got to be pretty powerful then, especially if you have the personal connection to it.
Oh, yes.
If this thing came through your dreams, I can only that's got to be a powerful wand.
The longer the journey, the more powerful the spell casting is attached to that wand. It's quite the artifact you have.
Yeah, I mean, it makes up where I'm lacking in some areas. You all know I've had issues controlling my magic in the past.
Oh, of course.
The number of wizards I've met that try to overcompensate for their try to compensate for their lack of magic with a potent wand. It's like
a wand is a compensator for a lack of control, which is the field I'm lacking in.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
You want a big blast of like
soul
energy
magic,
in some
bit
direction,
unwieldy.
right? Yeah. Call me up, right? But getting these complicated spells together, I have to spend a lot of time careful planning because you never know when all of a sudden you're going to try to duplicate yourself and oh no, you made a rookie mistake in the binding and now you have an evil twin coming after you.
Oh,
right?
no.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Tell me about
Twin
it.
doppelganger magic is not to be messed with. That can go unwieldy very quickly, quicker than you can blink.
Yeah.
The problem with that is, the more powerful you are, the more powerful your doppelganger.
Yep.
And that's not going to go well.
Yep.
I've actually had to deal with a shadow self before and eventually managed to dispel them.
What I found quite hilarious about that incident was that being the evil wizard yourself, this was actually a good wizard, a good
Right. My shadow self was actually more of a being of light,
Yeah, I found
which
him-
is kind of ironic.
The way you caught, I think he was picking up garbage off the sidewalk when you.
Yeah, he was actually helping an old lady cross the street.
Oh,
I pushed
wow.
him into the green line, and he was killed instantly upon
Karmic balance is being
struck
restored.
by
That's how you
the
draw a
trolley.
doppelganger.
Yeah. Well, for those any listeners on the Wizard Council, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
The incident is
again-
still being reviewed.
Again, I don't know how the Wizard Council is going to hear this show, but
the Dungeon
in the
Master
event
or
that
someone,
they're listening. Some individual out there may have done that allegedly.
You don't know anything.
Yeah. Oh man, that co-op search, tough.
Yep.
Tough. Trying to look for an internship out there, but all you get these stuck-up wizards looking for an apprentice, and like, I'm not looking for an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
What
Well,
are you looking for?
Well, personally, I would look for like a proper study under some old wise but evil, messed up wizard.
Not in some great tower, but a
I'm
good
looking
tower.
for all these like great tower all the applications I can find are for these like great tower studied individuals.
Yeah,
who are,
do you want an apprentice,
you know-
or do you want somebody that's going to, carry a 5-foot stack of books onto your 16-foot tall bookshelf?
For real.
Oh yeah.
I know, like, I know that it's so hard to get an apprenticeship these days because so many apprentices in the past just want to, take the lazy way out, animate a bunch of brooms to clean things up. But like, I'm pretty hardworking. I feel like I could do make a real difference. I don't know. Any dark wizards out there hiring? Let me know.
I know some dark wizards out there that are hiring.
Yeah,
but
really?
Yeah, look, I'll admit that I do, but my applications are still in.
Okay.
And I want to wait till I hear back before I,
The job market is tough right now for us
Yeah,
wizards.
you
We're
don't-
trying to make it by, but it's tricky.
I got it. You don't want me showing up
even
and
among the dark
swiping
wizards,
that
you do have to
apprenticeship
vet
from
the
you.
options because, some of these postings are just looking for someone to, power their spells. You'll be, burned to a husk within weeks.
Oh, they'll suck you dry. They'll take everything that you're worth. It's quite the shameful display.
Yeah, and I mean that's part of what I'm wanted for. I've been guilty of doing the same postings.
Oh, I mean, well, I'm sure with you had a perfectly justifiable reason, of course, for any such incident that may or may not have occurred with you.
No, I just did it for fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tourist in chat has some nasty things to say about goblins. We don't appreciate that kind of terminology here. We don't stand for that.
yeah.
Please educate yourself.
Don't appreciate such horrible, slanderous words.
Don't
towards
bring this discourse
goblin kind.
into our discussion here.
I'm sure there's some goblins in the audience. While we may have some personal gripes with our goblin roommate, we're sure that you're stand-up fellows.
Take it up with.
Generally,
They say
yeah,
take it up with
yeah.
the garden. This is the dark forest. There's no garden here.
Yeah,
What are
I
you
don't know what
talking about?
I don't know any dark gardens.
Oh, I do. Yeah,
The dark
Oh,
garden,
yeah.
really?
the dark garden. So it's not in the dark forest.
I know that much.
Yeah, you know the meadows, like the fairy meadows, the ones that you're banned from for
Yeah.
picking apart all the pixies.
Right,
Yep.
for harvesting them.
We'll
Yep.
never see
And
those
the-
wings again.
Yeah. So
Or their dust.
for those in the audience who don't know,
Grind them up,
it's
right?
a
Mortar
great
and pestle.
it's a
Of
great
course.
place to harvest spell components. But once you overstep the line like the dungeon master here did, you are simply not going to be allowed back. I in my time there have hands off. I haven't dipped my hand in the honeypot too much. But in the darkest corner in the Reaches, there is a dark garden which is home to many a gnome. Not much of a secret. It is just remote.
Yeah.
The gnomes there are quiet people. They focus mostly on, befriending small creatures and, creating weird little contraptions.
Contraptions and gadgets and other such gizmos of the garden, of its resources.
Yep. And these are less of the steampunk clockwork variety and more of the biopunk variety.
Ooh, fascinating.
Yep.
They developed their own niche here. You don't just get the typical steampunk stuff.
Yep.
It's something
Yep.
new. These gnomes have innovated. I'm proud of them.
Yep. Shout out to the Dark Garden out there.
Shout out to the Dark Garden. Good work. They're doing good work.
Good for them.
I wanted to bring up.
Of course.
I hear, the wanted one that you got an omen this morning. You got an omen this morning. I heard, be careful or you could fall for some tricks today. You got a warning.
Yep. It was posted on my door.
Now, do you think that has to do with, the date?
Right.
Because it's a holiday, right?
Yes.
Very
it is
special
a
holiday.
It's April Fool's Day, which is actually, for gnomes, the most important holiday. It is their basically their biggest
Well,
holiday.
and I'm sure, as you both know, the most important part about this April Fool's Day is that it is also aligned with the gnome calendar.
Yeah.
So it is April Fool's Day on both the human and the gnome calendar, which we haven't seen in 200 wizard years.
We
Maybe
are
even 300.
forecasting an unprecedented amount of hijinks.
Yep.
Tomfoolery, japery, chicanery, the works. Anything you can think of and more.
You know.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring a little bit of awareness to this because a lot of humans don't know about this. But
It's okay that you don't. It's just, you never had the chance to be educated.
April Fool's Day is named after a gnome. April Fool, the titular gnome of the holiday, was a gnome. Given name April, family name Fool, was a gnome.
Cousins of the buffoon family.
Cousins of the buffoon family, that's right.
We know him well.
Fought in the Great Gnome Wars, and actually got caught in a time loop such that they can only exist on April 1st every year, such that April 1st is April Fool's Day. It is their day. So,
Quick, for those who might be, the April Fool is, if I'm not mistaken, a Gnomus Gardenus, but the gnomes that captured April Fool in a time loop were time gnomes.
yes,
time gnomes.
yes.
You don't even want to mess with time gnomes.
Captured by time gnomes, April Fool was a Gnomus Gardenus, but surprisingly universally celebrated holiday among all of gnome kind. Even
Gnomus
the
Aquus,
time
Gnomus Dragonus.
Gnomus Aquus, Gnomus Dragonus, they're all celebrating today.
The time gnomes have to
so-
respect the legacy of April Fool.
It's true.
Yeah,
In
that-
fact, they do have to because they live it.
Oh, yes.
They do experience it.
For us, it's April
All-
Fool. For
they-
them, it's
they-
just day.
Right. To them, it's just the same. It's day. It is day. It is the day that they
Yeah.
are always living.
And look, I know a thing or two about like spending the same day, with the same gnomes for eternity. Just 2 months ago in human time, I was trapped in a 200-year loop with a Gnomus Demonus.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Because
The defensive Groundhog Day spell.
Oh, wow. We do have to, okay. For our listeners, for everyone listening, the wanted one over here had cast a spell,
Risky spell.
a risky spell, such that
quite dangerous
they
spell.
split their soul,
that I still haven't fully paid for.
such that they would know if the split soul dies in the future,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
A month ahead of time.
Yeah. 30 days back.
30
half of my soul sent 30 days back in time to warn myself of the impending danger. Whole mess. I get warned 30 days ahead of time that this Gnomus Demonus is coming for me. And I cast a Groundhog Day spell in haste to
Yes.
defend myself when the day arrives.
Yep.
Groundhog Day spell will reincarnate you at the time of waking every morning. And reset the day at the end until you break out of whatever conditions you set. And there is a costly price to pay afterwards.
That there is.
But the Gnomus Demonus was, let me tell, no joke, guys, 200 years. That's how many years it took me.
200 years
Unfathomable.
of repeating the same day to defeat this
Literally,
Gnomus
I think
Demons.
120 of those years were just the Benny Hill theme. Me running this way and
running
that.
this all through the streets of Boston.
I wake up in the
imagine.
morning, eyes bloodshot, just dry. Like I want to cry, but like my tear ducts dried up.
Yeah.
Benny Hill
You no
theme
longer have any
blasting.
tears left to weep.
Yeah. Now, luckily, April Fool. These are Gnomus Gardenus, not a Gnomus Demonus. The jokes will all be in good fun, so don't take them personally.
I would like to note I did get a question from a listener, James. How did they know to name her April before she was bound to the month of April? Stupid question. Obviously, the month of April was named after the gnome.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Audience,
It just follows logically from the facts of the situation.
Obviously, the month
We
was-
want to repeat to the
came after
the
the
audience. No stupid questions.
Yeah, please keep them. Let's. Stay
and by that we
reasonable.
mean do not ask stupid questions.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Wow. So that's crazy. 200 years, huh? Waiting in that loop.
Yeah.
But you lived it. You got out.
Yeah.
Half the soul intact.
Yeah. Frankly, the way I got out is not appropriate for radio.
Yeah.
We don't want to get into the gritty details of that.
Is that half a soul growing back, or are you staying at half?
So half of my soul that I lost will return after half of my remaining lifespan passes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wow.
So on the date of my death, yes, my soul, my entire soul will be returned if I did my calculus right. It's been a few years.
That's tough though, because 200 years. I mean, how many years in hell is that for your spell?
I don't even want to think about it because it's 1 year for every day.
It is 1 year in hell for every
But
day.
dying
in
should
the
never be a
Groundhog's
part of
Day
a
spell.
wizard's plan. I don't expect to ever die.
Godspeed.
A wizard will reach immortality in any number of ways if they play their cards right. As you know, we were actually just talking about earlier today. I do plan on retiring as a vampire. Well, retiring my wizard life to vampire life.
Yeah.
You feel a little vampiric, perhaps, in your future?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm actually slightly vampiric. I might have some connections. I could.
There are many undead
get
pathways you could take. A popular one among wizards is lichdom.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Living as a wizard ghost can be fun, but eventually, like banging cabinets and grabbing people's legs, that are peeking out of their covers when they're sleeping, just gets tiring.
Yeah.
Be a vampire. Live in a castle.
Yep.
Have some
haunt a
spooky
village. Or torment a village.
Yeah. Right. You can get
or
something
a
for it.
mansion or something. You could haunt a nice mansion.
Steal cattle.
Yep,
That's a good way to get
on
by.
a hill.
A manor on a hill is classic.
The creaky gate.
Exactly.
And then you get sick of it. You move. You move to London. You move to Transylvania.
Yep.
You know.
London has a lot of werewolves, but big werewolf population.
Yeah.
Might be tough to be a vampire there, but nearby.
Yeah. I mean, werewolves are tolerable. Well, every full moon, like whatever. The vampires can go out every night.
deal.
Stay in a weekend.
Yeah.
To have a cup of hot chocolate. Right. Read a book. Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to be out on the same nights as the werewolves.
Well, on that topic, thank you so much for listening to The Dark Forest, this very special holiday episode. I've been the Dungeon Master and
I've been the Crypt Keeper.
The Wanted One.
The Wanted One themselves in the flesh.
Thank you so much for
here
coming on to our show tonight.
on air, live. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
As always, you can find this show and all previous shows on our social media at Dark Forest WRBB on Twitter and Instagram. And join our Discord for live chat. And thank you so much for listening. As always, we've got one last song for you. Thanks for listening.